Hey guys, what's up? Force here, about to build the monster PC that we took a look at yesterday. Here with my friend Dorf Lol of World of Warcraft fame. So, how, it's pretty easy to build a computer, huh?
It's not hard.
Yeah, just a couple parts. We've got, let's take a look. So obviously the case right now, where she's working on, what the hell are you even doing?
So everything comes twist tied, of course. So it's a big old mess, just getting everything loose and ready to plug.
All right, big old empty case. This is the Antec 1200 series. I think that's what it is. The box says it somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, Antec's 1200 Ultimate gaming case.
Ultimate.
And yeah, it's just a couple pieces. We took a look at all this stuff yesterday, but there's the CPU cooler that we've got. People are yelling at me for not getting liquid cooling, by the way. They were literally, yeah, whatever. There's our i7 processor, the 4930K version, not super pro, but pretty pro. The 16 gigs DDR3 Dominator Platinum, which is ridiculous. And then our 840 Pro Series Samsung SSD, 128 gigs. People also yelled at me for not getting a big enough SSD.
Big enough?
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna put the OS on there, I think.
Yeah, OS and one or two games.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
1,000 watts, apparently way more. People are also yelling at me, the internet fucking loves to yell at me. People are also yelling at me saying that if I SLI'd, I wouldn't need more than 1,000 either, because I said that I would, but apparently we've got more than enough. And then there's a Rampage 4 Black Edition.
We can go over the calculation later.
Yeah, we'll do the calculations later. Alright, so after we got the case ready to rock, we're busting out the motherboard. So this is the overall motherboard. Besides being so crazy, most motherboards will look something like this. And then right there in the center, that's the processor. Super expensive piece of metal goes there. And then those are for the graphics cards. And they're basically what they plug in right here, and then they come out the back side of the computer. And that's for the RAM, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And then we've just got connectors for like power and stuff. That's power for the motherboard, I'm assuming. Yep. This is all the plugins that are going to be on the back of the computer. And what the hell is this thing?
That's like the North Bridge or South Bridge.
Okay.
The term escapes me, but it's one of the main controllers of the board.
Gotcha. Now we're going to stick the processor in. Is this easily like one of the most important parts of the computer?
Rudy's helping.
Rudy's helping too, yeah. Rudy, where you go? Alright, so.
Remove. Unlatch. This up.
And then the processor goes in. Don't fuck this part up. When you're doing a computer, this is not what. This is like the brain. Is that our equivalent there?
Pretty much.
Pretty much the brain of the, yeah.
So you can see the keying here. It looks like.
And you just basically want to line it up.
Go this way. Take that back. It's gonna go this way. It's based on these little plastic key type things here. So.
And then you just snap it into place. Alright, so now we're just setting up the mounting hardware for the CPU cooler. And it comes with a whole bunch of different options depending on the type of motherboard that you have and all that. It's just in the instruction case. Instruction manual or whatever.
See, on this one, this side would be an AMD mount, and you'd use screws like there, and this side up would be an Intel mount, and you'd use these side.
Thermal paste on the processor before you put on the cooler. What does this do, Dan?
It's kind of like an insulator for the heat. It also allows the heat to travel from the fan, or from the processor to the fan heatsink. It's kind of double whammy. So just pretty much use your whole tube. Can't have too much. And then Rudy barks. And you spread it out as evenly as you can.
Sounds like the pizza's here.
Pizza's here.
Okay, so we have the motherboard screwed into the case now. Let's go back out to the case and was it 9 screws in all the corners? Start stop button. That thing's, what is that? What am I using that for?
Nothing.
It's really funny.
It's just kind of your on-off switch for the motherboard itself.
Right, and then what are we doing next? Putting in
Power supply next.
PSU? Alright, going right over here. Lining it up.
And it has 3 screws.
Alright, so the next thing we did was stick in the hard drives. That's a solid state drive down here. Just mounts right to the case. I'll get a good view of this. None of these are good views. Let me go over here. Okay. So that's the solid state drive. Just screwed right into the case. There's a bunch of screws for it back here. And then just regular hard drive. There's screws right here. Right into the side. Alright, so we've powered up both hard drives now. The solid state drive and then the regular hard drive. I plugged in the PSU, powered up the motherboard, and stuck the RAM on. And even though everyone was yelling at me for getting 2 sticks, the motherboard has configuration. Is that what we're saying for it?
Yeah, it's
What's the phrasing we're using? What's the terminology here?
it's dual channel.
It's got dual channel.
Yeah, it's so essentially recommended memory configuration.
There it is. So for 2 sticks.
It'll allow single channel, dual channel, quad channel, double triple channel, and double quad channel.
Pretty much every option under the sun. Get a shot of the video card. It's like a spaceship.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back, Force here, and today I'll be showing you my newly built beast of a next-gen PC. Also, in the last video I called this a next-gen PC and everyone was like, it's not next-gen, there's no such thing. I'm just referring to the fact that there's a new generation of consoles, and that means across the board any multi-platform titles would be getting bumped up in terms of graphical fidelity and processing requirements. So having a new rig to coincide with that bump up across the board is a good thing. So what I'd like to do instead is show you the finished product and talk with you about the basics of a computer, because when I first went into it, I was fairly confused. I was like, what the heck? There's so many parts, what am I supposed to do? But it's actually not that confusing. There's really only a few pieces, and you just have to make sure that those pieces are gonna fit together, basically compatibility, but all that information is typically available for you on Newegg or I'm sure any other equivalent sites. So let's talk about all of the pieces that go into a PC. All right, so first and foremost, obviously we've got the case. This is where everything is housed inside of. Inside of the case, pieces include the motherboard, which is that circuit board looking thing back there, the power supply unit right down over here, any hard drives that you might have. I've got an SSD and just a regular hard drive, the graphics card, the central processing unit, the CPU, the RAM, and then a cooler for the CPU. And that's it. I literally just listed every piece that's in this computer that I bought, that we bought separately. So now what happens is, first things first, you get the motherboard, you put in the CPU, and then you put the cooler in. And it's a pretty easy process. In fact, I would say the most difficult thing is getting that CPU in, but it's not that bad. It's this little metal square, you just plop it down, you get your thermal paste on top of it, and you put on your cooler. whether that's going to be a fan, whether it's going to be liquid cooling, whatever one you decide to go with. Liquid cooling, arguably better cooler. It's obviously less noise as well. I just don't like the idea of sticking liquid inside of my computer. I know it's safe, I just decided to go with this anyways. So we got that on. Then you can just pretty much go from there how you want. The order that we went is we put in the power supply, we put in the hard drives, we stuck in the RAM sticks, which just plop right in. And all of it's like a Lego set. You literally just put these pieces in. So it's only these few pieces, and once you have the CPU in and you get the cooling system right on top of that, and again, it's basically just snap it into place, make sure you put it in the right direction, which, you know, it's all pretty laid out for you, and there are instruction manuals as well. It's rather simple. It's not really that complicated. Now, something else I would also like to talk with you, because I learned a little bit about this in building this PC, and that is the cooling system. So, multiple different ways you can cool a computer. I decided to go with fans. Again, liquid cooling is another option. But the really cool thing about how this works is the tower works to pull in air from one direction and then push through the hot air that's inside of your computer that's building up from your GPU and your CPU, and then push it right out the back. Right on top, we also have a fan as well for additional cooling, but these fans in front, they are sucking in air, pushing it through, and then all of the hot air that gathers inside is then getting pushed right out this backside. And that's really neat. And once you sort of learn that that's how it works, it really intensifies the importance of cable management, which I still need to get this all together because you can see it's just sort of a bundle right now. But the less clutter you have in here, the more the airflow is going to be increased and the better the cooling on the inside without having the fans spin up as loud. Now, this case in particular, I've got fan controls on the front and I can really crank it up. You're gonna start to hear it a little bit. There's also some fan controls on the back for all of these things, which I can crank these up. And you can't feel it, but we've got an increased airflow going here. Now that does make the case a little bit louder, and frankly, a lot of times I really don't need this. So I'm typically running it on a medium to low setting and doing okay. It's only when these components start to reach high critical temperatures that you have to worry about stuff like this. And this is also something that you can set it up so that your computer is going to automatically regulate those fan speeds based on the heat that is inside of the case. That's something I believe that you can do in the BIOS. But that's basically it. I mean, this is, I don't know, really awesome. As I talked about in the last video showing off these pieces, really super stoked to have this new computer. It's a little overkill in some sense, but the fact that I do so much video editing, all of this power, all this processing power is gonna help a lot, and that graphics card is gonna carry me through for quite some time, and if it starts to struggle, just gonna buy another and SLI it, and that's gonna be fantastic as well. So it is complete. There's just a basic look at the pieces that go into a computer. Again, it's really not as intimidating as you might think. Do a little bit of research. Just make sure when you're buying parts that they're compatible, and you can find out all of that information right on Newegg, making sure, for example, that the graphics card is going to fit into the motherboard, etc., etc. But yeah, that's it. Big shout out again to the major sponsor, Assassin Co, for this, as well as all of the generous donations that came in through the Twitch channel. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, this thing wouldn't be possible. And not that my old computer was bad at all, but this is just absolutely glorious. So thanks guys so much. Hopefully you enjoyed this look at the new beast of a PC. Man, I'm in love. I really am. I'm absolutely in love with this computer. Look at just how pretty everything looks. Look at that. Even the SSD looks pretty. Let me get a light in here for you. Look at that. Where? I can't even see it. There it is. That's a bad look at it. I don't know. It's a pretty looking SSD. It's got a little dust in there already. Can you believe that? I can't either. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. Now that I finally have this, and I'm trying to figure out the bastard that is Windows 8. Oh my god, I hate this so much. Windows 8, why do you exist? Once I figure out how to safely navigate Windows 8, I'm gonna be back to my regular schedule of video production. So, whoa, zoomed in. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you around. Keep watching and keep owning.